Ew.
I made a mediocre title because else was here.
That's fair. We always forget about that.
The Trivoid. Thank you for the 8 months of subscription on Twitch.
Wowzers.
That's like a lot of months.
Yeah, good evening, everybody.
All right. Okay. Just presented.
Nice.
Gonna go refill my water. Be right back. 1 moment.
Sounds like plan. Yeah. Sadly, Raw Life is indisposed at the moment. I'm sure he will have much to say upon his return. He had some words to say about the gem cap situation earlier, but he cannot join us this evening, sadly.
Unfortunately.
As usual, I am picking up the slack.
I mean, that's kind of our MO, isn't it?
For the best player in the game, right?
I cannot promise that. My characters are all fully built. I can say that.
Damn, no raw challenge run.
Maybe we could. The Raw Life challenge. Like, see how many passives you can unequip from, like, Cissnei and still destroy the Sephiroth fight.
I feel like it's what Raw would have wanted. Not like... yeah. Not like a choice, but it was what he would have wanted.
Yeah.
I tried running that freaking fight without her, and it was horrible.
We'll have plenty of time to talk about that once we get started on the show. I wonder if you could make a challenge, just like try to beat a fight with the smallest total CP used on your entire team.
Oh wow, like a cost limit and whatnot, right?
Yeah. Be like
CP limit 1,000, and you can only get like 1,000, and you have to allocate it like evenly to your party.
Yeah, you gotta really think about that. Like, are those summon board passes really worth it?
Yeah.
I think that'd be a horrible idea. So, I look forward to seeing what the community comes up with. Yeah, this one's for you, Tree Void.
Tree Void getting some ideas. Take some notes, Tree Void. Maybe like, cost limit 1,000. The max a character can have is 500 or something. Just get creative.
Now we don't need artifacts. Artifacts are a waste of CP.
Hi, friends. Andrew, Drez, good to see you guys. How y'all doing tonight, today, this evening?
Alright, I think we can probably get this show on the road.
Heck yeah.
Alright, I have a theme song to play. Let me know if the audio's not good, by the way, viewers. Just didn't get a ton of time to test it, but we'll see. We'll do it live. Anyways, theme song. So.
And now it's time to start the show with Bl'Artagnan, Raw Life, and some girl. This is the Lifestream.
All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Lifestream number 42. Hope you're all having a good evening. I am joined this evening by Bl'Artagnan and Blind Eye. We are, of course, suspiciously absent one Raw Life. His absence will be felt, but he should be back next week, back on his feet. How are you doing this evening, Blart?
Oh man, I'm doing okay, hanging in there. It's been a wild time because between Raw Life and actually last week I was absent due to some family medical stuff. It feels like there's a lot of health troubles creeping through my life in different places, which is distressing. And but other than that, baby started doing baby talk, and now like she sounds like a tiny little velociraptor, and it's really cute. So that kind of gives me life. Hey, Blonde, how's it going? It's been a second.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I was absent last week. I'm doing pretty good. My weekend was pretty normal, pretty chill. Managed to take a break and whatnot, so it's always nice to just unwind.
That's good. I think
Nice.
it's good to,
Glad to
good
hear it.
to be nice and relaxed. See my friends in the chat. Howdy, guys. Cross MF. Okay, I can't. I'm sorry, my guy. You know who you are. MFYK8. Hello.
Yeah, we are joined by all of our lovely viewers on Twitch. Hope you're all having a great evening. It's been quite a week actually. Quite a lot going on in DFFOO. Obviously, we had some big news earlier today. If you caught the SQEX stream, we'll get more into that later. But we've also had 2 new fights since then. Raijin's Intersecting Wills dropped right after our stream last time. Did not really get to cover him properly. What's Raijin do?
So Raijin, for those who remember, at the beginning of Lufenia, was kind of an MVP for folks who didn't want to pull a whole lot. He really just he has one of those kits that does what it does well and does a pretty decent amount. He's a Thunder Enchanter with HP regen, some at the time respectable attack aura, but the auras are no longer really kind of a thing for him. And a on-demand paralyze, provided you can charge up his overhead. It goes up to 3 stacks and unlocks his AoE paralyze, which is pretty sweet. You can use AAs for that, things like that. With his LD, this is another case I've talked in the past about how like with LDs they tend to either make a character do more stuff or do what they do better, usually. And in his case, it's definitely a do what he does better situation. He gets more damage. You got a rework that gives him more damage. He's just personal damage on his skills, stat ups, that sort of thing. And a debuff that he applies when he uses the LD. It's a 2-turn debuff, which feels really short for 4 uses. It's called, I want to say, Don't Lay a Finger on My Friends, or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like the name.
I'm a big fan of the name. I mean, who doesn't love Raijin and his personal speech pattern? But the debuff is pretty loaded. We got 100% attack down, which is the least exciting thing. 100% HP damage dealt down, which is pretty massive. HP damage up 20%, which is good times always. And unable to apply debuffs. So this is not a paralyze, but it's kind of Reno-esque in that it turns the boss off for a turn, which in some ways is better than a paralyze. Because with a paralyze, the thing that has always kind of bothered me with paralyze is unless the fight is specifically designed to showcase paralyze, usually when you paralyze a dude, it's like, okay, well, you stalled them for a turn. Next time their turn comes around, they do what they were going to do. They have a recast, you're getting smacked for a recast, With this, similar with Reno, it effectively says, no, you stay right there, do your thing, we're not going to care about it, which is, I think, in most cases, a lot more powerful. There's some
sure.
isolated cases, like, the attack comes with a framed, or a giant cleanse or something, like, but usually it's going to be better than a paralyze, barring stat. Technically they can deal damage to you because it's only 100% down on those stats, not like reduced to 0. But I think it's really good, especially because it applies on his LD call. Again for 2 turns, I believe, and that's going to, from what we've been seeing in the future, because we don't have to think for ourselves, we can just look to the future, which is pretty
That's
great.
true.
yeah.
It's going to be super hella clutch, hella useful as a party member. He's he has the standard kind of support level damage, 3 dumps on his skills, and he now his, he got that AoE paralyze, which is still good. He still has lightning enchantment, which is good. He has HP regen if you need that. It's still useful stuff, and he gets 8 turns of that sweet debuff if you want it. I don't think you're going to be bringing him if he's not a favorite, but
I think he actually does have some value in the party. Like, his paralyze is much more consistent now because the attack that spends his stacks is now instant turn.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Which really shortens the time it takes that paralyze to come back. Between that and his LD, he can really block bosses down for basically the whole fight. And he does also have pretty good single target damage. One of his skills is 5 single target dumps.
So, with high turn rate, yeah.
Yeah. They gave his base skills all high turn rate as well, which kind of mitigates the whole Raijin being slow as molasses, the issue that he had before.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good upgrade.
Raijin, I mean, he's good. I feel like he's going to be kind of like that Agrias situation where when Agrias came out, everyone was basically saying, "Oh, you pull Agrias for this one fight because she chooses this one fight," and kind of overlooked the fact that she was just really good.
Yeah. My only issue, I think, with Raijin is that his HP damage up is tied to that super limited debuff.
Yeah.
Which feels kind of bad when it's not up.
Yeah, that's the thing with Raijin for me is I think as a party member, he does some stuff that he does the stuff he does quite well. I don't think it's not going to be one of those things where he's going to single-handedly carry you through a fight. He'll definitely do his thing, locking the bosses down, and that'll be great. I think most people pulled him for the call, and I bet there are going to be a lot of people who pull him and really overlook the value he could bring in the party.
Yeah, he still is slow. It's just that he is a lot faster and has that instant turn rate on his paralyze move, which it's nice. I think it's a nice kit. I think he's pretty fun.
I messed with him myself. Yeah, he's pretty nice. That HP region is still loaded. I think it's 20% HP region, and I mean his ores is pretty nice. I think the only issue I have is the fact that he's so slow, and sometimes I'll just even forget that the enemy doesn't have his "Don't lay a finger on my friends," and I'll just get wrecked thinking that I'm have a false sense of safety, and I just got my ass kicked because no debuff.
Yeah, he probably doesn't do so high against faster bosses. He also has a pretty ultimate weapon type. I think Spear's in a really good spot right now.
Yeah. No, I really highly undervalued Spear when it first. Oh yeah, 9 Freya and
Kane coming up.
Man, I think Spear might have been low-key one of the better ultimas you could have invested in as an early. I'm just thinking, we had Sid, we had Lude, now we have these guys. Spear, you just keep eating.
Yeah, it really feels like they kind of group similar ultimate weapon types together, and there's kind of always one that's having its moment. Like now, I'd say Unique and Fist are both really strong right now.
Yeah.
Whereas they were terrible early on. I mean, I guess Unique got Null, but other than that, who else were you using Unique on in the first 2 months of C90? Kefka?
Throwing was kind of in a crappy spot too, Shadow, Waka. Now we have Cissnei, so you can say it's in an okay spot now because
it's still not good, but
yeah, that's just throwing is just one of those cursed weapon type. Throwing
staff was massively front loaded.
Yeah. Also, first of all, hello, first time chatter. Madless Wolfel, cool name. By all means, feel free to ask some questions. Welcome aboard. And I also do want to also shout out our buddy MF. Calling attention. I don't know if you watched the cutscenes in this Intersecting Worlds, but I really enjoyed this one because at first I was like, oh, they're just rehashing the 8 stuff, but they weren't rehashing it. They were kind of giving you the natural extension of how that would have played out in this world in a way that didn't feel like they were just. I know a lot of times when they kind of rehash a game story in this, it feels a little contrived. I'm like, okay, either they wipe their memories or they're just doing it because they're doing it again, like the Celis thing. It's like, what the hell was that? This really felt natural and fun, and it ended with Raijin punching Cypher in the face, which I loved.
Yeah, deserved.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, no, honestly, a lot of Intersecting Worlds have been pretty good story-wise. I've been enjoying them probably more than a main story recently.
Yeah.
We also got a fight with Raijin.
Did we
technically?
Really?
Technically, there was a fight. I was told that I should play through it on stream because this will probably take about 7 or 8 minutes tops. because this fight doesn't do anything at all.
Unfortunately.
Well, it does, but we'll talk about that. So
I feel like, as a rule, the intersecting wills have been the kind of the letdowns, or you could call them the breathers. I will say, like, lately I haven't had as much time as I used to kind of mess around with teams and have fun and do stuff
hmm,
in the game. And so
Sure.
having a fight where it was really just kind of like with the next fight we'll talk to, it was a little. I kind of had to say, look, I don't have time to mess with this. I'm pulling it. I'm pressing the Zac button because I had to. Whereas this fight, I was like, okay, I can still kind of stretch a little bit and take a breath and enjoy, and kind of almost like taking like a nice walk through the garden. That's my positive spin on the fight. Do you want to give your guys' views on the experience?
So I guess I'll start with the good. There's some interesting mechanics here. Genuinely, I like what they were going for with, like the threshold attacks with the debuffs. Like there's stuff going on. But this is probably the lowest health fight we've seen in a very long time and will see for a very long time. And they have the problem where they die very,
Yeah.
very, very fast. Like, you'll notice that I have just finished setting up all my calls and done like one attack per character, and Cypher's at 80%.
Yeah, that's not boding too well for our guy, is it?
I did a threshold attack. I just threw up a Cater Brave Freeze to keep myself alive. That's gonna be plenty to keep myself alive the whole fight. Also, funny enough, Cypher gives you his EX debuff, which nullifies Brave damage, right? Which is like, it's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
it is.
The issue is it doesn't nullify Brave gains first off, so you can still cap HP damage no problem on a Brave gain heavy team. You can also just like press your AA
So
and it's gone.
the defense I would
Yeah.
say for it is that it follows the mechanics of how he works, in that the LD debuff that it also applies cuts your brave gains by 30%, which is nothing in the face of C90. Everyone
Yeah,
has 40%
exactly.
brave gain up, so it doesn't really matter. But like, it's okay. It basically it evokes the feeling of, oh, he's actually using his EX and his LD here,
Yeah,
which is
it's true.
cool. It's just in practice, it's like, well,
Who
Cypher,
cares?
buddy, that's not enough, my guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I would just say this fight was just, I mean, it felt like the gimmicks was there, just like Samegi said, their HP is just like way too low. The threshold attacks were like incredibly heavy. Like you could feel, I mean, unless you were running like an HP damage reduction team or Raijin, like they do a lot of damage. And even the crippling debuffs, but we just have a lot of answers for them.
Yeah, I appreciate at least that they do have somewhat threatening attacks. It just not more threatening than we have access to, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look, here's a
I,
recast. There's the Brave's still frozen, so I don't care. But he did do a recast.
the Cerberus actually, he uses a mechanic they've been using a lot lately, which I'm a fan of, which is the warp at the threshold and take 3 turns in a row. Because that's great, because you can't just be like, oh, I'm just going to toss like a paralyze on them or something, because they're going to get 3 turns.
Right.
And in previous fights, that's been cool, because like when Seymour does it in his Intersecting Wills, he does like a bazillion chain spells or whatever. Or like when
Yeah,
Emperor
yeah.
does it in that fight, he does that. He has that dispel attack, I think it was. This guy,
He
what
does
he does
nothing.
is he does brave attack, brave attack, brave attack, and maybe he'll do his recast, which is not the scary part of the fight. Cypher really is.
Yeah.
The only scary thing about the Cerberus is that he has the orb. Other than that, I'd say Cypher is the real danger here.
Agreed.
It's kind of funny that you don't break them. You have a Cypher's debuff, which is just like, I don't know, something about the aesthetic that's very funny. Like you do a bunch of hits and you just don't break them. But yeah, this fight's like half over at this point, so and that's my issue with this fight is that it ends fast. Let's see, do I got?
And I did notice that as well. Like Blart mentioned it earlier, but it feels like these intersecting wills fight is just like incredibly underwhelming or just half-assed.
What 3 damage?
I suppose if we want to get tinfoil hatty here, we could maybe because the intersecting wills are permanent content. The devs kind of envision it, oh, this way, like these are the Lufenia
I
pluses a
think I
new
just
player will be
died.
engaged with. What?
The orb. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the orb.
Good players. I gotta say, you know, this
Good
is
players trigger the orb.
Yeah,
somewhere.
my summon didn't charge fast enough. I was
Somewhere, raw life is just chuckling and sipping on a high life.
yeah. No, I mean that's like the only probably the hardest part of the fight is that because they have the turn warps. If you don't have like a paralysis or something in the party, then you can just trigger the threshold so fast that they take like a million turns.
So since that,
Yeah,
I think we've
Tyler,
about.
I don't want to do this fight again.
Yeah,
Stop.
no. So our new friend Metalist Wolfle has asked a question of us. And kind of a general question: what is your favorite party build, just kind of in general? Like, what style of team do you like to play in this game? Knowing that you got a lot of different choices, and maybe your mood can change. Maybe what are you feeling right now? Either of you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I guess I can answer that question. I've always really liked to play teams that sort of. I don't really like no turning bosses, but I've definitely always really enjoyed sort of playing around with like lockdown type characters like HP Silence, Terror, that kind of stuff, where you sort of have to be very reactive to what the boss is playing. I don't typically play a lot of off turn damage teams that much. I just find that kind of boring personally. Um, but like the team I was just running is kind of a very typical sort of team I would build. Just you have like some soft mitigation, you've got damage, battery, healing. I like to let the bosses do something.
Yeah. Now, Blind Eye, how about you? I have a feeling I might know where this is going to go, but I'm going to give you a chance to answer yourself.
Well, surprisingly, I'm pretty balanced. I play defensive teams and mostly turn hoggers just due to the fact that a lot of my favorites fall in the turn hogging category. And not just like turn hogging. Some of the characters I like actually have like high turn rate moves like Waka, so it's sort of like yeah, and then you can say the defensive portion could be like Himari and Orange as being defensive. So yeah, I'd say between turn hoggers and just teams that basically allow me to like take damage and really like just shrug it off and be like, yeah, that was nothing.
Yeah, and I found that my taste in teams has really kind of evolved the longer I've played the game. Because early on, I really preferred defensive teams, like a very heavy, like tank or debuff heavy team, where I'm like, okay, they're not going to touch me. I don't care if the turn count goes up to like one turn before I hit the limit, but they're not going to hurt me at all. And I enjoyed that for a long time. But I think around the time I started making videos is probably why I changed. I started getting really into very, very aggressive rushdown teams, launching teams, lightning spamming teams, things like that. Nowadays, I find that I'll find a character that feels good to play, and I'll try to build around them.
Yeah.
And so, like, I went on a huge Golbez kick, and that's why my avatar is Golbez right now. Is I just really enjoyed the feel of the character, and so I was like, okay, well, how does this character play? How do I feel like this character should be built around to make it justify using them over other characters? And it kind of that every time a new character that I enjoy comes out, the exact way the team looks will change, but usually it'll be there's a single character who I really am currently obsessed with, and I'll try to maximize their strengths and showcase why they're a character worth using. Which,
Yeah.
for some reason, usually means pairing them with Rem and Liud, but
Yeah, it's also obviously like very fight dependent. Like if there's a particularly difficult mechanic or orb, I'll usually think of, oh, this one character would be like really good for dealing with that particular mechanic. And then I'm like, okay, who can I put around this character to make the 9? Whether that's like a niche orb condition or like something like that. like in this fight we're about to talk about, say for Sephiroth. There's a pretty restricted orb condition there, so I had to pick somebody to deal with that orb condition, and then sort of build a team to fill in the gaps around that.
Man, I can't believe this just happened to me. Black Cloud, Black Lero on YouTube is in chat right now, and he just dad joked me in my own house in front of all my friends. I don't believe it.
Tragic.
But anyway, no, I think there's a mix of kind of responding to the fight and kind of responding to your own preferences and tastes, because some fights you can kind of play more to like that. The Raijin fight, actually, something I did sort of like about it is it had kind of two ways to operate, because you could do the paralysis route or you could do the HP damage route.
Yeah.
And either way, or you could just bring 3 bursts and blow them up. I mean, that's
and they just be dead.
But if you wanted to kind of relax your way through it, like I saw people like using off-turn damage to tick up the orb with the HP damage on their turn, and I thought that was that was kind of interesting, clever, and it was kind of a choose your own adventure. It was a choose your own adventure where, like, at the front of the book, they were like, oh, if you turn to page 80, that's where the story ends. So you could just skip there if you want. Yes, Black Cloud. But I mean, I'd say that's a. I know my dad and uncle would use that one on me all the time when I'd say what's up to them. So I'd say saying the ceiling in response to what's up qualifies as a dad joke.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah, for sure.
Even for date.
BT, I guess you've just been a dad this whole time. Congratulations.
So were you guys talking about the Raijin fights now?
We're kind of done with that.
I kind of segued back to it, but not really. We're done with it.
All right, yeah, I figured.
There's just I don't know. Like I like kind of what they were going for with the mechanics. It just Cypher has like 10 million health or something, which is nothing. Just absolutely 0 health. And it just made the entire, like, none of the mechanic worth engaging with, because it could just kill him.
Pretty much, yeah.
Here's the question. I know chronologically the next topic to go to would be... Oh, hold on. Didn't Raijin come out with someone else? Someone came with...
Oh, yeah.
Kadash.
Came with Kadash.
My guy. That freaking... Samegi, that number one... Hashtag number one Kadaj activist, Samegi. Can you please tell me what our favorite character got with his C90 upgrade?
All right, we got. I know Art was being somewhat sarcastic there, but I actually used Kadaj a lot on his original release. I thought he had a really fun kit. He's got some cool gimmicks, and he had pretty good damage and debuffs for the time, obviously. And that's mostly what got touched up with this tuning path. He now does a lot more damage. He has the standard C90, more dumps, more stats up, stuff like that. The other kind of interesting thing is he got he used to steal 50% of enemy brave gains, so they would only gain half as much brave, and the other half would go to Kadaj. Now it's 100%. So he completely seals enemy brave gains. He also does that on his call now, which is kind of cool.
That's spicy, actually. There's a lot of scary brave gain attacks in this game.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, he and Arciela both do that on their call, which is pretty cool. Kind of a fun little niche for them to fill. He's got very solid damage, particularly single target damage, as that's kind of always been his thing. Where he gets a lot more, he gets his follow-up and more damage and stuff when targeting or has his fixation debuff at the max stacks. So he'd be very good for, I don't know, a single target boss with 44 million HP that we're going to talk about in a minute.
I love the thematic elements at play in that fight are just tremendous.
Yeah.
I feel like nobody uses Kadaj, but the people who do are always very happy with how he performs.
He really, this is a really strong tuning pass. He just does a lot of damage. He's got a good ultimate weapon type. He's got...
Which is not sword, weirdly enough. I realized that the other day. I was like,
yeah, no, he's unique.
Yeah, he's unique because I think his weapon of choice is like a 2-bladed katana and whatnot, so it's like unique.
And all of his weapon glosses look exactly the same.
Yeah. But no, this is an extremely loaded tuning pass for Kadaj. Like Samegi said, he got everything: HP damage, more attack, brave gains as well. The standard that everyone gets, which is just more damage. The 100% brave gain is very good because one of his issues before was like if the enemy got like 500k brave and did like a brave gain into HP attack, you stole 250k, you're still gonna die. Now it's just like a flat 100. It's really nice.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think the other thing that I like about, I think he's falls into the category that I like for C90 characters, where he's someone who was already pressing his AA a lot, and so his AA getting powered up like really nice for his kit because like he's already pressing this button all the time. Like you always use his free skill on AA on his previous tuning pass, so that's just like free stat up for him.
Yeah, cool. Well, I think Kadaj havers continue to benefit, and the myriad of folks who are going to probably forget that he exists, just like I did earlier, we'll get by, but maybe with a little bit less light in our lives. Who knows? Who's to say?
Like I said, he's fun character. I'd recommend if you happen to have his kit, give it a whirl.
Agreed.
So, with that, before I got sidetracked, remembering Kadaj, hashtag remember Kadaj. I was going to say, chronologically, I know the next thing to talk about would be the next fight, but I'm wondering if now is a good time to talk about the SQEX stream. Since
Oh yeah,
there's some stuff that happened.
there's a whole lot. It's a
A
big
lot
day.
has happened. Oh yeah.
Man, I honestly didn't. I almost didn't think this day would come, but man, oh man. Blind Eye, you want to walk us through what was announced on stream? And in case those of you aren't aware and missed the stream, I'm of course talking about Shulk's lost chapter, which is coming
Yeah.
back.
Like with Lulu's LD. We
So,
have
you know-
confirmation that Shulk indeed getting a lost chapter.
So we were greeted with a global first QOL allegedly, and we were greeted with this brand new item, which is a ticket that acts the same as a gem. And in fact, it costs the exact same as gems.
Yes.
You can get one for 5k, or you can get 10 for 50k. They have the same functions as you throwing gems on a banner. You get 10 plus 1, the plus 1 being a guaranteed 5-star, and you get G tokens for it. So it is supposed to be their remedy to the gem cap situation. And how they discussed this was being rolled out is this is going to be rolled out in like 2 days. But the gem cap... Oh, tonight?
Or it's whenever the maintenance happens.
I believe the maintenance is
tonight or tomorrow night.
I think tomorrow night, yeah. And then what they're gonna do is they're gonna roll this out. The gem cap will still not be in effect. They'll probably get some feedback from this, but then sometime in the future, the gem cap will be implemented.
My understanding was that the gem cap is going to be put in next month. So they're giving you a month to sort of convert all of gems into the currency that does the exact same thing as gems, and then they're going to cap your gems.
Yep. So this was quite a bombshell. Bl'Art, what do you think about this?
So I actually did miss the stream, and when I saw the slides, my first thing I said was, "Oh wow, Lulu LD, cool," and missed the other stuff. So you guys had to bring me up to speed before we began. Full disclosure on that. But so, am I understand the way I'm parsing this as like, okay, so basically just you can only have 300k paid gems.
Yes.
But you have an infinite number of these gem ticket things.
You can have up to 999.
There is a cap, yes, 999.
Okay. Which is 5 million gems worth.
Okay. So okay, so you can. The idea, I guess, they would have in their heads is that you would drain your paid gems into those, and there is an upper limit to those, but you can use it to empty your paid gems out.
Free gems are used first, even for purchasing those tickets.
Yes, that's the important part. I forgot to.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Hold on. Wait, what? That was the part I missed when we walked.
It's the exact same thing. You use your free gems first to get those, and the idea is to basically drain your free gems to 0 so that your pay gems are being used.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just make paid games get used first? Okay, so I just started like this past week playing Echoes of Mana. Mino Spellgood got me into it. Shoutouts to Mino, damn you, this thing's taken over my life. And the paid, it's very simple. The paid resources are used first. It's real easy. I'm pretty sure there's a gem cap in there of some kind, but it's not going to affect me because so long as I actually play the game in full, no matter how much I wail, not that I wail or anything like that, but like if I was to wail, it would not be a problem. I would have no reason to complain because it's like, okay, well, obviously they don't want me just sitting around forever. Why though? But why though? Why is this the route they chose to take?
I mean, I think like at the end of the day, the way I read it is the 300k gem cap was something that came probably from higher up, probably from Square Enix corporate, that they would not budge on whatsoever. And so then the developers of this game, Team Ninja, were like, okay, got an idea. We can totally alleviate this problem if we just call the currency something else. And create this kind of like hilarious, like convoluted, bureaucratic nightmare of it's totally fine to have this much currency as long as it's this other currency that does the exact same thing.
Yeah, no, I feel like this whole thing is a mess.
I mean, at the end of the day, like this is absolutely a win, right? Like,
yeah, for sure. It's a lot better. It's a lot better than if like the gem cap was actually rolled out, right? Like we would just be like, with our torches and pitchforks at Square HQ.
which, by the way, a reminder that the gem cap is still in full effect in the Japanese version of this game. They have not had these multi-tickets announced. They have had a gem cap for the past, 3-4 months at this point?
Beta!
Beta?
So if you're playing beta version of the game, you are shit out of luck.
Man, oh man, yeah. I mean, yeah, I like you said. At the end of the day, this is definitely an absolute win. As much like
it's just a very funny solution to the problem.
It is funny. Yeah.
In my head, I'm like, okay, this would have been easy to just make it so that paid gems are used first, but this is I want to say technically this is a more player-friendly solution if you ignore the fact that it makes the game more complicated for players. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess technically, if you are someone who is at risk of hitting the 5 million paid gem cap, then this is not a win. They did say on stream that there was not a single player who was at that cap.
Yet.
Keyword.
So maybe for some of the game's biggest whales, this is kind of just like delaying the inevitable. Because I think there are some people who, if they maintain their current spending habits, could hit 5 million.
So here's the question, I guess for you guys, and also in the chat, let me know your answer to this as well. Now that this answer has been rolled out, before the gem cap, did the announcement of the gem cap change your spending habits, and does this announcement change your spending habits again?
I'll let Blind
You want
answer.
to go? Initially, yeah, because I was on board with everyone that we weren't going to spend until like a statement was brought out. So like I avoided getting costumes. I believe this happened around Gilgamesh. So it was like Gilgamesh and Theodore cycle. So I did get Gilgamesh's BT, for example. I had no interest with his costume, but it would have been cool. The gem cap ultimately just, let me, put that aside. It was the same thing for Theodore. I did green Theodore, and I did want his costume, right? Same thing with I'm kidding. But the gem cap ultimately, made me not want to do it. And I also didn't get the MOG pass for that month and the following month, even though I believe the following month it was like, I think halfway through that we got like some kind of statement about it, right?
Yeah.
Or was it Theodore, or like halfway
Yep.
into like Theodore's that
Yeah,
we
it was,
got
it
it?
was during Theodore cycle.
Okay, yeah. I didn't get Mog Pass the following time, or the following month, and I didn't have a problem with like summoning boards just because we had
Yeah,
so
it's auto
much
plus.
potions. Yeah. So I was just like, yeah, I'll just like do it regularly. Now, as opposed to now I'm sort of like the same before like the gem cap was mentioned at all. I don't spend that much. If anything, what I do is I get the like the baby whale pass when a summoning board happens, just to support the game a bit and get costumes I desire. So like I did get Cissnei's costume, and that's it so far. Just to show my love for the game. What do you think about Blart's question, Samegi?
Yeah, so I was kind of, I guess technically there was about a week there where I didn't have a Mog Pass. When they put out the statement they were delaying it, I was kind of like, all right, I'm back on board for now. So I guess it didn't really. I mean, I've always kind of been a mostly. I only own like 5 or 6 costumes, I think, and didn't really affect my purchases of those because I bought one that I was going to buy anyways, and that was it. I'm definitely feeling much better and would consider buying more costumes now if there were any that I like, but I'm pretty picky about costumes because I tend to prefer the characters like original designs more than the alt costumes in a lot of cases. So I don't have too much desires to spend those, and I've been buying Mog Pass the whole time. So
All right. Cool. Yeah, I definitely when the announcement kind of made me say, all right, I'm outie, and the follow-up announcement kind of delay about the gem cap delay was like, okay, I guess I'll come back cautiously. No more costumes, or no more costumes. I think Gilgamesh was the last costume I bought because I told myself I'd buy that one when it came out, and that was the last one. And I've stuck to that, and I have kind of been less and less spendy in the game just overall. But it's interesting because I was earlier today thinking, all right, budget-wise, I should probably just, I think I'm just going to stop buying Mob Pass for a little while or something like that. And now this announcement's out, I'm like, well, I'm still. I feel like if this had come out like maybe a week ago, I might have changed my mind. But now it's like, that the whole gym cap thing really feels like it lost them some money.
yeah, at the end of the
Yeah.
day, I think that's kind of the feeling a lot of players are having right now, right? Is that fundamentally we kind of just ended up exactly where we started, and it's like, why did we go through this like 3-month-long ordeal of like people panicking and like
Arguing #agree the cap.
yeah, like we had all this stuff that went down, and at the end of the day, it's like the solution to the gem cap is basically that there's not really a gem cap.
No,
And it's like, why did all of this happen?
the solution is genius because it means the people who hated the gem cap get what they want because the gem cap it doesn't really exist, but the people who wanted the gem cap get what they want because the gem cap technically exists. So
Yeah,
this is some Henry Clay level great compromise bullshit right here.
for sure, yeah. And I am also showing my purchase gem on the screen if anyone's curious.
Also, our new friend Medelis Wolfel. One day I'm gonna get that name right. Apologize for every time I mispronounce it. You earlier asked how Samagi has so many gems, and I think I just hit upon the answer because I see you mentioned that you always go for a multi-draw as soon as you get 5k gems.
Yeah.
While you how you spend your resources is up to you. The way we tend to amass giant piles of resources is, personally with me, I only gem pull if I have enough for a pity. If I have 75k and there's a character I want, I'll go for it. That way, worst case scenario, at least I get the weapon, as opposed to just throwing it whenever I get 5k, and that seems to have a pretty good success rate for me. Then again, maybe I'm just lucky, I don't know, but that's kind of my approach. Our dearly departed friend Jin Lee, departed from the community. He's not dead. He's still alive, I think. Had some great content on his YouTube channel about resource management and stuff, which I could recommend if you are interested in actually growing your stash and amassing a little pile of gems here. Wolf, that's going to be way easier.
Thank you for sparing Bl'Art his torment.
Oh God, I and how often my name is mispronounced. Oh, it's a pet peeve of mine when I end up having to mispronounce someone else's name because I'm a baddie. Anyway, yeah. So that's just that. Again, it's how play the game how you want. It's not telling you how to live your life, but the way that Somegi got so many gems is by passing up on characters that don't interest her, and by being kind of thoughtful and strategic about who she does pull on, because on the GL version of the game we do have some foresight and know what's coming down the pipe, so okay, this character looks interesting, but someone's going to do something very similar, or they have a bad shelf life, or they're Seymour and I hate them. Whatever the reason is, they're able to exercise some more kind of responsible decision making in terms of planning out when and why they pull.
Yeah, I used to spend like all gems. I started Lufenia Plus at less than one pity's worth of gems. But I've just not been gem pulling hardly at all for the past 8 months.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I remember it was a bit of a meme that you and Zoe never had any gems.
Yeah.
Was it you and Zoe? No, I thought
well,
so.
it was
Anyway.
like Zoe getting included in it, but it was like funny because she actually had a ton of gems and it didn't make any sense.
And now you have a ton, but yeah, no, memories all hazy now. And Blind, what were you gonna say?
Well, the thing about me, right, is I gem pull everything like FF10, right? And during Lufenia, there was a very long period
That's true.
where not a single FF10 character came out. Like, I think the first one was Waka. Like, we got Kimari's LD before Lufenia, and then it was just like Waka LD maybe halfway into Lufenia.
Yeah, it was like a 7-8 month period.
Yeah, so I had a lot of gems because it was just like, dude, like, can I survive just jamming FF10? Later, I was just like, all right, you know what? I'll pull for people that help out, like, FF10, right? So, like, my reasoning for Ignis would be, oh, he makes Jack do more damage, and Lulu at the time didn't have her LD even on the JP side, so I just went for Ignis to support Jack.
Yeah, the different people have different strategies.
Yeah.
I've also personally, up until very recently, was crazy lucky with tickets, and I saved tickets until I had 999, and then only used those when I was pulling, and just for some reason had a great hit rate because
Yeah,
I don't know, lucky. So sometimes it is just going to come down to luck, but a lot of it comes down to being kind of thoughtful and strategic about your planning and resources. And again, folks in chat, I see some of you've already gotten to. If you want to kind of share your own thoughts, beliefs, strategies, history with your pull plans, all that various stuff. Who doesn't love a good online blog in the Twitch chat? By all means, feel free to blog away. This is a blog.
your like one invitation to just blog away.
I mean, look, you guys have been Raw basically uses this as his own verbal blog on a regular basis. So I think it's only fair that we return the favor to our good
to our loyal
friends,
viewers.
our loyal viewers out there in Textland.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think the biggest thing is just learning how to skip characters that you aren't going to use. Like, that's a very hard thing for some people to get used to, is that if you're not going to use a character, just don't spend resources. Like, you really don't need Thancred's LD.
Ooh.
And as you play the game more, I think you also kind of get a sense of what characters you like using. Like, I run the same characters a lot because they're my favorite characters. Especially in this era, I think, now that, like, blue armor and ultimate weapon and stuff is a thing. It's like, if I'm not gonna blue somebody or use them as like a call, they're not going to see the field very much if at all. So why would I pull them?
Yeah, Treevoid, our friend Treevoid tricked me into pulling for a number of characters I'm never going to use because he started posting those challenge runs, and for a couple of weeks I was really into them, and then my schedule caught up to me, and I had to kind of say, okay, I can't do this anymore. But I'm never gonna. I have Snow now. I have Lise. I have I think there are one or two others. Edgar. I didn't get the Lufenia armor because I'm like, I'm never going to use these guys. I don't care about them. I'm not going to use them. I have people who do what they do, and if they don't have their armor, it feels bad, but I also want to use my armor tokens on characters I actually care about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So damn you, tree boy, for tricking me into pulling for Lise.
She's fun.
I'm
Her EX feels really good.
It feels really well. It feels pretty good when you only have her base purple armor, or not purple. Her base non-Lufenia purple armor.
Yeah, fair.
That's a lot of 9999s you see.
Quite a few of them, yes. But yeah, no, I just think like especially in this era where it takes so much investment to get like a fully maxed out character, and that's going to be even more of a thing in the coming era. It's just not worth even trying for a lot of characters.
Well, another thing I've been with the FR era on the way, the game's gonna be more about building around the FRs that you use, and so I think there are gonna be fewer kind of luxury characters where you pick a character for free. I mean, keep in mind this game is also pretty generous with the resources. So once you build a stash, it's pretty easy to keep it as long as you kind of, if you're able to get to a point where you have a decent pile. It's one of those things where like the rich get richer kind of situation. Again, like once you start applying that, only gem pull on 75k, it stays that way. 2 bursts in a single multi. I'm just back reading chat. 2 bursts in a single multi-ticket draw. That's okay. That is pretty good. That's some good luck right there. But anyway, but yes, that's resources right there. That's resources. I think we've covered this enough for now.
I think so.
Well,
but yeah, like as an example, I got Locks for free yesterday.
Ooh, grab.
Because we got that new triple BT banner. Got Locks BT and now LD. And I didn't even get his high armor because I'm not going to use him. Got his base purple armor, like you said, and that's it. Why spend resources if I'm not going to use him?
The one other, I guess, caveat I would make is depending on people's rosters. Oh, that's a baby Blart in the background. Sorry if you can hear that. There will be cases sometimes where you'll find that you need to pull to beat the fight. Like, for instance, on this fight we're about to talk about, I bet there are a lot of people who, if their roster wasn't especially expensive, they needed Cissnei to get through it. And I mean, that's the other reason. I'd say go for your favorites, or if you need to pull to beat the, Black Cloud has a great saying he likes to say, "Don't pull until after you've tried the fight."
Yeah.
That's I think some advice.
Because this fight is very doable without Cissnei.
Would you like to showcase that as we talk about it?
100%.
I mean, I could show what I ran, but it's pretty specific, I would say.
I wonder, should we go for specific or accessible here? What are people feeling? What kind of showcase of this fight would we like to see tonight?
Yeah, so for reference, what I ran for this fight on my first clear of it was I ran, because you want to trigger like an attack on a party member on your turn. I ran Noctis, Lilithset, and Rydia.
Ooh, that's spicy.
Interesting, yeah.
So I know that team can win this fight. Though it's quite interesting playing this with Noctis, because I don't know if you know this about Noctis, but his skills only transform into the plus version if you attack a broken target.
What?
Well, I didn't know that. What?
Yeah, it's breaking or attacking a broken target.
That's a lot of AA usage, isn't it?
I just didn't use it. I just used the non-plus version. It's still 3 dumps, Warp Strike. You just lose 1 dump. Not the end of the world.
Oh,
the other character with that conditional actually is Tifa.
I knew that about Tifa, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you try to use Tifa here, she doesn't get her Beat Rush Plus, and it feels like shit.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. I guess we should talk about the fight before we talk about how to do the fight, shouldn't we? Or do we want to just hop into it and talk it as we do it?
I think that might be better.
All right, let's do that.
Yeah, the free turns from LD do help a lot. Otherwise, you're not making turns on this fight. I think it took me like 32. Let's run that team again. See if I can do it better this time.
Yeah.
It was kind of hard, so we'll see how it goes.
Wait a second. Does Noctis' plus skill also give him free turn?
It warps his turn in front of the boss.
Yeah.
Does it make the next turn like free as well? Though?
No, it just moves his turn.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought that the warp turn became free or something.
What calls was I definitely didn't use well, I did use RCL call and it was dumb, and I want to use a better call. I'll use Raijin call. That's smart.
I think our good friend in Historia Crux actually took Null through this fight.
Sure.
So
Yeah, that sounds awful, but congrats.
respect to yeah, respect to you.
Yeah, I can't believe Cross, you absolute maniac. I really love when people find a way to bring their favorites to a fight that they have no business bringing them to.
Yeah, it's the thing about this fight, right? Is that if you have Cissnei, it is night and day. She helps so much in so many ways on this fight. Like there is not a better character you can bring.
Well, I'm going to ask what Cissnei does, but first let's talk about this giant. I still can't get over it. We're fighting Final Form Safer Sephiroth. He's this giant 7-winged, like HP Lovecraftian kind of biblical angel figure, right?
Yeah.
It is a beautiful sunny day right outside Gongaga Village.
Yeah, that's the crazy part. Outside of Gongaga.
Why is he? I mean, I know in the story it's where it happens, but like, it feels like we should have had a different background for this fight a little bit, doesn't it?
Like you see this peaceful village, and then all of a sudden you just see like this gigantic Safer Sephiroth just out of place.
So when I heard we're fighting Safer Sephiroth, I was like, oh, I see. This is going to happen like in North Crater, or like, I don't know, even on top of Shinra Tower or somewhere epic like that. Just outside of the little podunk town Zack's from, where you normally just fight a bunch of frogs or something. And you do get to do that here too. Which actually, shout outs to SQEX and Team Ninja for bringing back the frogs from FF7. One of the greatest enemies that this franchise has produced. Love them so much. That rivet noise, very good.
Big fan.
But anyway, what do we got going on here with the old doofy sunny day angel?
Alright, this fight is a
you can
hell of a fight. It's got a lot on here. I would say the biggest thing that people are probably going to struggle with on this fight is turns. Because this guy has health. A very, very large amount of health. This is, I think, the highest HP enemy we've ever seen in the game.
I think so, 44 mil.
I think so. 44 mil is the highest HP we faced. Like on a single target, obviously.
Yeah. And he's got a lot of stuff. It feels like he has a mechanic for every one of those wings.
Yeah, he really does.
I would almost say, I mean, not to get into a broader discussion, but earlier we were saying intersecting worlds have felt like the breather fights. I feel like the story chapter fights have really felt like the capstone, like, serious business fights.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Me too.
So this guy's I mean, he's at 90% now. You seem to be making good progress here. He doesn't seem to do anything. I mean, obviously,
yeah, he doesn't take the turns. This guy's easy. What's everyone complaining about? He doesn't even move.
Because those frame turns aren't helping him at all.
Yeah, that's part of actually why I like Noctis here, is he can sort of keep the boss's turns at bay pretty well. And this guy gets fast. I'm running a decent bit of speed down as well with like Lilith's got a generic speed down, and I'm gonna use Curse on my ball later. Just to slow this guy down a bit, he takes a lot of turns if you let him. But yeah, the fight doesn't really start until 80%. So we're just kind of trying to burn him down there. Then I'm going to use my BT and all that jazz. And
that makes sense. I mean,
yeah.
For now, he's not launchable, not delayable, not deletable. And it's funny because
Dawn fans.
I love
deletable.
Okay, yeah. I can't believe they chose this fight to make it on. That's anyway. That's a dumb
It is
thing.
very, very funny.
Yeah.
Very, very funny. I thought it was interesting that they allowed break delays on this guy, given how the fight worked. I was like, it just felt like a weird, like intentional exception, because the text even says excluding break delay. Like they knew and intended for break delay to be fine. For the first 20% of the fight, anyway.
Yeah. Well, you can break him. All right, so we're almost to where the fight starts.
It's almost like this is one of those Final Fantasy VII final bosses where like there's multiple phases, multiple forms. This was the first form. It's just safer Sephiroth, except he's breakable.
For the first 20%.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just Saber Sephiroth, but weaker. All right, we have
Safer
hitting
Sephiroth.
80% here. First stuff starts. So 80%, he's gonna warp his turn. Take 3 turns in a row. All of this guy's attacks are very scripted. He always does the same things in the same order. I'm actually kind of in a bad spot right now, but I should be fine. So first off, so this is the third move's rotation. It's called Dean. He will cleanse all of his debuffs and cleanse all your generic buffs. Then he has 2 HP attacks after that. Pale Horse is one of them. The other is, of course, the classic Heartless Angel. And go back to 2 single target Brave only attacks. There are some debuffs involved as well. There's a Brave gain on Heartless Angel. What else do I need to know? First of all, we want to slow this guy down.
I mean, something I like about this fight is that I almost feel like the devs, they couldn't have, but it felt like they were playing into the meme of like garbage time bosses just brave attacking, because this guy has 3 different brave attacks he does, and they're all actually threatening. Because Shadow Flare, okay, he's basically guaranteed to get turns, including those warp turns. And Shadow Flare, as you just saw, is a big brave attack. Like without mitigation or dodging or something, he can very easily amass a bunch of lethal brave, and then if he does that during those warp turns, he can smack a dude. And that's the least scary of the 3, because then Dean dispels your generics, which is kind of annoying. Really annoying if you're using Saz as your crit buffer, because he uses the generic crit buff.
Oh yeah.
I turned that the hard way. And then his regular brave attack, I was like, oh, he just has a regular brave attack in his rotation, and it has a chance to do what?
Blind and or paralyze.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo. Goodness gracious. And that's just the brave attacks. Like on top of that, like you said, Pale Horse, big damage. There's somewhere in there there's cleanse he does. He does the Heartless Angel. At 19% he hits us with that Heartless Angel plus just because why not?
Just to really screw you up. Yeah, this boss is he's loaded for sure. But like I said, I think the hardest thing in this entire fight is honestly just the turn count. Because you got to do 54 million health in 40 turns.
Yeah,
which
no,
is
they were
a low
selling
turnout compared to what we've seen recently. And
yeah, they were selling off-turn damage here. Like Freya was great here. Cissnei is always obviously great because that's who they were selling.
Yeah, I appreciated that the story chapter kind of told you 2 of the characters who were really good here, because they were like, hey, Kadaj versus Sephiroth, and Kadaj is, I think, pretty solid against a single target with a bunch of brave gains and stuff. And Zack is a big player in here, and I mean, I don't know about you guys. I brought Zack, Freya, and Lilithset, and not that it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was like a difficult fight, but like 32 turns. That was, given that I'm using one of the most busted BT pluses we've ever had, and 2 very competent supports. 32 turns out of 40 is pretty up there. And the orb actually got pretty scary at a couple points too, because that orb is man, screw that orb.
yeah, that's a tough orb. That's actually why MD's Noctis here, because he can really keep this orb in check. And this orb needs to be kept in check.
Oh yeah, no, it's heavily against you. It's -2 on your turns. I believe it's +1 when you do a follow-up, and I forgot the other condition, remind me?
Crit damage.
Oh, crit damage, yeah.
Yeah, so the thing
So
is, you need to crit this boss, but he cannot be broken, so you're not going to naturally crit with anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's. I thought that was really, really funny because I feel like every other crit boss we've had, with maybe there was like 1 or 2 exceptions. Like the RNA event boss went through phases where they couldn't be broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is the first time I think we've seen where it's just like, nope, 80% from here on out, flat minimum brave floor, and you have to crit him, and you have to hit him with a follow-up attack on. But the way they,
It's a really awkward.
I've been trying to find a way. Yeah, there's no elegant way to phrase this. It has to be a follow-up attack on, but not on the follow-up attacker's turn, and not on the enemy's turn. So it has to be a character following up one of their other allies. That's probably the closest I'm going to get to a succinct way to put it. And that's just going to stabilize the orb unless you have off-turn damage, like Freya, or like a counterattack character. Galuf, in theory, would be good because he has personal crit off-turn damage, except there's no way you're making turn count with Galuf on the team, barring like
damage.
Yeah. If you do some kind of ridiculous like Garnet Robs, I think you might have a chance, maybe, but like that's reach. Oh yeah, and there we go.
Yeah, I think it's really taking advantage of those free Noctis turns, just to push more damage.
That's the move right there.
So you need a lot of it.
Oh man. Yeah, with the damage, I was like, okay, 44 million. That for 2 bosses, that would be like about 22 million a piece. That's not that much HP in my head because like I feel like we've seen more lately. And then I realized the turn count was 40, and I was like, oh, that seems lower. Wait a second, 44 million divided by 4. Oh, that's a crazy damage per turn requirement.
Yes, the boss is about to warp again. I'm probably going to summon afterwards.
Probably not a bad idea. And this is
just
another case where like
when it cleanses, it really you can see it speeds up a lot because of once the speed downs fall off.
Yeah, and this boss is the opposite of the Cerberus I was talking about earlier, where it does the turn warp thing and the triple turn thing, and actually does so for those turns that you have to be concerned about.
Those turns are scary.
Yeah, even I think when the Emperor fight we did, which by comparison to this is, I think it was a good garbage time fight, but it was not a super crazy fight.
Right.
That like I had some attacks where you're like, oh, I hope he doesn't do that attack during this chain. It can mess you up. This like every turn he takes, you're like, oh, here's something. Unless you're bringing Rydia, who's basically awesome in Overlook.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm a big Rydia fan. I think she does a lot to make this fight bearable. Actually, not going to summon. What's he got? Get up. Oh yeah, that's fine. This isn't super threatening to me. Get that defense from Noctis. Get my peril from Rydia. Refresh Noctis first, and then we're gonna go into summon.
MF saying that VL apparently completed the fight on GL with a really limited roster. I'm curious to know what that would be. VL is just spectacular, and I always am a huge fan of his work.
Oh yeah, VL's a legend. Get our evasion back up.
I am curious what team he used for this.
Point out, you mentioned who you put here.
I actually got wrecked at this fight.
Oh boy.
I tried, taking Titus, Freya, and Cissnei. And very convenient that his basic attack paralyzed my Titus twice during his BT. So I was like, all right, this clearly isn't working. So, I swapped out Freya for Lena. And I was able to do the fight just fine until I believe it was 10%. It might be 30% where he does a Heartless Angel Plus.
I want a 19, I think is the number there.
Okay, well, I went into BT phase and I basically got him to like 11%, and then he did 3 back-to-back turns, and then Heartless Angel Plus to me, and then I think did Pale Horse, and my Titas died.
Yeah, that would do it. Oh, do you want to see a fun interaction, by the way?
Oh, please.
Sure.
So, Lil Set skill 2 doesn't do any damage, but it does debuffs, which counts as attacking the enemy, so this actually triggers Noctis's follow-up.
Oh.
Even though it's like a free instant turn.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It has that interaction with Cissnei as well. Cissnei will do her 3 dump follow-up if Lilith does her skill 2.
Remember, for a similar mechanics, Cypher's AA also would trigger like Cloud Darkness follow-ups back when those characters were current, because it inflicts like a defense down. I always thought that was a really funny interaction.
Yeah. You know, offhand, if I feel like I know Gabronth's debuff application is like coded as a counter, but I'm wondering like how I feel like that interacts somehow, but I don't know how exactly. Maybe not for Noctis, but like counterattack orb or something.
Yeah, there it actually does tick the orb on like an example would be 8's Lost Chapter, where you have to do counterattack. You can actually tick that with Gabronth's debuffs.
I love that. That's so cool.
Which I always thought was very funny. Okay, so
yeah,
he's
I
about
do remember.
to warp us, which is
I do remember
fine.
that interaction. That Gabranth triggers the off-turn orbs.
And so does Camelot as well.
Oh yeah, Cam does that too. I'm sure everyone's going to remember that when his FR comes out.
Yeah, certainly. It's going to be useful, I'm sure.
Which kind of
absolutely.
I feel like Cam FR is going to be for me similar to like what Zach BT has been, because I like Cam's design a lot. I just feel like he's going to become kind of pigeonholed into this kind of broken interaction thing. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe his utility actually is part of the appeal in practice, and it comes up a lot.
I think that you probably can have a lot of fun with him. This BT effect's actually really cool.
It is, yeah.
And also, like independently of his super broken FR, it's also like a pretty powerful effect.
Yeah, I remember before I understood how FRs work, I was like, oh, I'm going to pull for Cam because his BT looks really good. And then it turned out Cam was busted, and I just didn't know. Oh, that's not good.
No, this isn't like a death or anything. I'm just a very unfortunate turn order for setting up Noctis shenanigans.
Oh, I almost kicked my standing desk over by mistake. Bad timing there. Cross, we were talking briefly about Camelot in passing. We kind of tangented our way over there.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll talk. We'll have plenty to say about him in time. So we'll
when he actually exists.
Give his chance in the spotlight.
Good for him. Man, I feel like Raijin is going to be very similar to Rydia here in that, or just in general, in that like people are going to overlook how useful he can be in the party.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
Speaking of people being in parties, we got a boss here. We got a fight, which is cool. It's very good. Did we get anything else when this happened?
We did. We got Y'shtola C90.
And finally, Y'shtola. God, who doesn't love Y'shtola? Do you want to walk us through what she got, or I mean, I can. I'll do it. I haven't talked about a character in a hot second. So,
don't push the threshold.
Y'shtola got some pretty nice things. We got the 2-turn delay double dump on Stone Plus, so it's never button you press anymore with Y'shtola, but it's nice to have. Medica became instant turn. I think heals more HP, which is nice to have. Her EX now gives her a passive Brave and HP damage up whenever you use it. Kind of similar to Jekt. It's like an invisible aura, so you don't really see it, but it's there for a few turns after you use it, so it actually gives you a reason to press the EX if you're not trying to heal or revive. She lost the Eye Brave conditional on her LD's auras, so now her LD auras are always in effect, which is sweet. Because those Eye Brave auras are the conditionals are kind of awkward. And
Yeah.
let's see, before we get too deep, and then her LD damage is upgraded. So the LD itself is now triple dump, full AoE, and the special Brave Plus attack she gets, Cyan's Arrow, is a triple dump, I want to say? I think it's a triple dump now. And Afflatus Misery I believe that's 5 dumps now.
Yep, that is correct.
So, I mean, we know where we love her. Oh, and because it matters, her AA now includes part of the C90 is her AA now gives 10% Brave gain up, so she technically has the most Brave gain of any one unit in the game, I believe.
That's interesting. I actually thought Raijin Call would mitigate that. I guess it doesn't. Learn something new.
Dang.
I didn't die, so we're good.
What? Can you repeat what you said, Bl'Art?
About Y'shtola or about
the Brave gains?
Oh, since Y'shtola's BT Plus gives 50% Brave gain up, and her AA provides 10% Brave gain up, I believe she now technically provides the most Brave gain up to the party that a single unit is capable of providing at this time.
Yeah, it's tied with Kieran, because Kieran also does that as well.
Oh, I didn't realize Kieran did it on his AA. I knew that he had the 50, but I didn't realize his AA did. Okay, cool. Well, that's nice. Good for and then Kieran has the HP cap up, so you can make the. Oh. Yeah. Okay. So, so everyone has the. Oh no, Rydia.
There's the infamous paralysis.
Yep. It's not the end of the world. We're gonna be warping.
Yeah.
Nice. A bunch anyways, so I finally got the turn order I wanted. I've been trying to get this entire time.
Sophia Bard is in chat. He shows up. He has the gall to show up to this late after we played the music that he made for us. Shout out to Sophia Bard.
Oh, that's really annoying, actually.
Oh, we forgot to do the yeah, and of course thanks to blanking on.
I didn't think of that, and this is a problem. That's super annoying. Because Rydia didn't get to take a turn, she doesn't get to warp because she has to target an enemy to take advantage of warp step.
That's different.
You need those turns pretty badly. Alright, this is getting dicey, guys.
You gotta believe. You gotta believe.
We're approaching 4th quarter, guys.
Well, the issue is Noctis's BT's falling off. And without that to help keep up the orb, we're in a not amazing spot.
That's what I was finding with using Freya as my follow-up unit. Like, you can only keep her LD situation in like a usable position for so long before suddenly like you're out of LD uses, you out of summon, and if you spam her AA 3 times in a row, the orb goes down by a whole bunch. So it has to be like basically at max on her turn in order to make that work. Like there's. It's a tight orb. There's a lot going on in this fight. We got the tight turn count. We got the damage check, which is, I guess, the tight turn count. Tight turn count. We got a beefy boss. We got threshold attacks. We got mechanics. We got restrictions. We have a crazy orb. We have exactly one character. Y'shtola was the only character to show up on the banner for this fight. No, that's not true. There was another character, wasn't there?
Wait, we haven't talked about Cissnei yet, have we?
No, we have not.
We mentioned her, but like it was never like, what does she do?
Here's the final countdown here. Can we survive this fight? We got to do 6% before this orb goes to 0.
I suppose I can talk about Cissnei while you're doing that in the background.
I thought she used this earlier. That was.
So Cissnei is our brand new character. Her base skills are kinda dull. It's just 2 dumps. Her EX is 4 dumps, and it provides a buff. That buff is pretty important because it provides crit rate and crit damage to her. So it's very important, particularly for this fight. It also gives her self HP damage and some minuscule auras to the party. The reason why people are hyped up about her is her LD. So basically, Cissnei has an overhead called Wild Rekka, and basically, whenever its max stacks is 3, and depending on its stacks, it does the HP damage. So if it's at 3 stacks, it'll do 3. If it's at 2, it'll do 2, and whatnot. The LD effectively freezes that for 1 turn. So she's basically doing 3 turns at the end of anybody's actions. So pairing her with a turn hogger like Tidus, she goes all over the place. That's like a 3 extra dump off of like whatever Tidus is doing in this example. And no, she's very good. She's hyped up for the right reasons. And she's very fun. You can tell from this fight that's clearly selling her that with a strict orb that she's really good. Did you guys pull for her, and how did your pulls go if you did?
Ugh. I threw about 500 tickets at her, no dice. I am now at 0 tickets. Well, technically I got some from the event, but I drained the well, and Cissnei did not come home, and that hasn't happened in a long time.
Which will do more damage. The EX ignores defense, so I think I should use the EX here.
But does Flare have more HP attacks?
It has 1 more dump,
That's a hard call.
but it doesn't ignore defense. The damage looked pretty bad before, but she does have Brave retention. The issue is I lost all my debumps, so my damage is kind of shitty right now. I need to do.
I want to say
Does the EX apply the water imperil?
He should have the impair. Yeah, he has water weakness.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, water weakness is up. So, but I got like terrible damage off of Flare.
I feel like the EX is probably the safer pick here.
I think we win anyways because Noctis's EX is up, and that should do enough. I feel like the ignore defense is going to be huge. That did more damage.
I think
EX is trying to put up at the finish line here.
Yeah, we're just what else? What does Fist do? That's like bad, right? Yes.
Yeah, no. It's,
well, I was trying to decide if that do more damage than because Lilzet is going. The orb will pop after Lilzet's next turn if boss is alive.
Oh, this is.
Let's go.
Dumps.
Come on!
Oh!
Hey. Right on the line. Right on the line. Let's get some. Yeah, let's get some little sets in chat, please.
There you go.
There we go. That was nicely done.
This fight's really fun. Like, this was a super fun team to play. I don't know if you could tell, but I was like...
Any questions?
Yeah. Any questions? Oh, I need to, like, throw something, like, I don't know. That's showsness, baby!
Hell yeah, that's what we're talking about. We can bring that energy, that raw life energy. Folks who have been joining us later in the evening, our good buddy Raw, your friend and mine, he tore his meniscus a couple weeks ago, and somehow, despite being confined to crutches, managed to, since that time, sprain both of his ankles.
Yeah, this is completely true, by the way.
Which it sounds like satire. The reason you have to understand, my theory anyway, he's currently he's actually having the matter investigated right now. He's part of why he's not here. My theory is that he's so top heavy from all that upper body strength that he likes to show off and go on about, that his ankles just couldn't take anymore and they just snapped. That's my working theory. I don't know what you guys.
I choose not to theorize.
We're on a talk show. We gotta give the people something here.
Let's see. What do we got?
We're out of content, so this is what we're moving on to.
He was busy tripping over himself to defend FF9, and sprained his ankles on the way down.
I can see it. Blind. What do we got? What are your theories on?
What was the cause of his injury?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Shit, Samegi picked a good one.
No doubling up there. You gotta use that gray matter of yours. Put yourself in Rawlife's position. Our good friend, our dear companion Rawlife.
He decided to be punctual early and try to get together in VC with us to discuss what's going on in the live stream today. But on his way to his computer, he ended up losing his balance and hitting some furniture and falling down and losing his legs. Well, not losing his legs, but injuring it.
He was just so excited about the end of the gem cap that he partied a little too hard, if you know what I mean.
That's so Rawlife, isn't it? Just though, dang man. Yeah, but I mean, you guys, y'all know Raw. He's a resilient fella. He'll bounce back better than ever.
Oh yeah, he'll be back.
It takes more than that to kill a bull moose. You cannot break Rawlife. In the meantime, I'm here to use all his catchphrases and squat in his stream, the usual stuff.
Yeah, we're here to mooch off his fame.
That's us. I mean,
that's show business, baby.
Would you guys weren't part of the original setup, so you don't know the name for this stream. I realized way after the fact that we accidentally named it after him. That wasn't the intention when we picked it.
The Raw Life stream. Wow, I didn't notice that until now.
Yeah, no, we had that was a coincidence, and it took me months. I don't even know if he's aware of it at this point.
I don't think he's. Don't say anything.
I mean, I'm not. I won't tell him if you don't.
I would never do anything to like inflate his ego even more.
Actually, I'm changing my theory. Remember how it said it was the muscles? I think it was actually the ego was too. He lost his balance, and the ego landed on his ankle, and that's what happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course,
did we finish talking about Cissnei? Did we say everything we need to say about Cissnei?
Oh shoot, we probably.
I was kind of focused on the ending of this a little bit, and I kind of missed it. So
I kind of mentioned like the important parts about her. So
yeah. I guess the thing that I wanted to say about Cissnei that I think maybe I haven't heard. I was talking to our good friend about this, but people are talking about like you always run her with the turn hogs. You don't want to get any turns, right? You want to get as many turns of that 3-stack follow up as possible, right? Thing is, even if you don't do that, she still does just a ton of damage. Just on a regular team, her damage is still great because she is following up after every single turn. So even her skills are like 2 AoE dumps. That's awful, right? But after her turn, she does 2 dumps of a follow-up. Then after next ally's turn, she does another dump of a follow-up. After next ally's turn, she does another dump of a follow-up. So that's 6 AoE dumps if we're doing basic math on her worst turn.
That's a big thing. I think people it's often talked about how people do a terrible job of kind of conceptualizing damage that isn't done in a single action. Because I know, when Vayne first came out, or during ZX era or whatever, like people undervalued how much damage because he only has like 1 dump on skills, or with his BT plus, he only has 2 dumps on his skills. That's not he's taking 3 free turns in a row. That's like basically 6 dumps for 1 turn.
Yeah.
And Cissnei has the same thing. Even with Beatrix, when they reworked her with her C90, I was like, man, they didn't touch her skill 2. Still is only 1 dump with splash. What's up with that? And then I realized, okay, it's 1 dump, then she does a follow up, then she does like 2 counters. So that's actually a lot of it actually does that.
Just treat it like 4 dumps for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, and
so the thing is with Cissnei again is that yes, she's optimal when paired with Turn Hawk because she's doing that 3 dump follow up every single turn. If you're running a Retitus, Terra, Vayne, Zidane, someone who can just take a bunch of turns in a row. But you don't have to do that because she'll still do very, very good damage.
The thing that I do like about her is that she's like surprisingly low investment as well. Like she does all that damage at like pretty low investment because her armor isn't
it's got that Unity armor.
Yeah, that Unity armor.
Yeah, not in love with Unity armor. It could be worse, I guess. But she's got selfish Unity armor, which is like pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we try not to think too hard about the Unity armor if we could help it. Oh, she also MF mentions she also is a throwing weapon type, which we, as we were saying earlier tonight, is one of the cursed ultimate weapon types.
Yeah. I mean,
That's like,
what can I say about cursed ultimate weapon types? I just ran my blue Rydia.
It's between what, Shadow, Waka, and Cissnei right now.
And, yeah.
yeah.
Eventually, I mean, I know people who like to watch the
One-
JP forecast know that Hope's going to be good in a couple months, but you're not investing in an old weapon now for someone like months down the line. That's just stupid.
That's what refunds are for.
That's what
Yeah,
the
exactly.
new refund feature we got last month is for.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah, the thing is, if a character is not getting their ultimate weapon this month, I don't care. Because I can just refund something.
Yeah. One thing about Cissnei I do want to, I guess, touch on. I had heard some people kind of, I don't know, I say people. I had heard some takes that Cissnei was skippable because, to
Garnet.
paraphrase the quote, yeah, because Garnet creeps her.
Which is dumb as hell.
It's, I mean, I'd argue that it's technically true because Garnet is still one of the most broken units in the game. But in terms of, like, what she does, Cissnei's follow-up and Garnet's follow-up do function very differently. They both are 3 HP dumps, but Cissnei's is happening every action, like, not every 4 actions. That's a big difference.
Yeah, skip everything because of Garnet. I mean, try using Garnet in this fight. See if you get as good a result as you do use Cissnei.
I mean, this is a very specific orb here. I think that's a bit of a cherry pick, but
yeah, you know what I mean. Like I think.
But yeah, like
she just does so
things.
much more damage.
Yeah, they do different things, and I think follow up from her personal output from that mechanic, from that every turn it happens, and it's not counting down like some kind of like. I'm trying to think of like I can't think of an equivalent mechanic, but it's
ace traps.
Yeah, like you don't have to once it's up and running, and you're gonna get some good mileage out of it. Plus, she brings some party support with it. I think that's all I can say about her. She brings some party support and has really good damage output through that. And yeah, but I just wanted to kind of remind people to view units for their own merits and to try to identify the differences.
The whole you don't need Cissnei if you have Garnet. You could also just run both.
No, it's spoilers for Final Fantasy. I know you didn't finish Final Fantasy 9. When Garnet cuts her hair, it's Cissnei, same character. It's like the Dark Knight.
Oh, okay, yeah. Ida and Lise.
Yeah. Sorry,
no,
I didn't mean to spoil you. I know you were looking forward to it.
With a lot of these characters, it's like, oh, you don't need Cissnei if you have Kain. You can just run both characters in the same party, and they're really, really good together.
Yeah, I think the only time the just run both doesn't work is when you're talking about selfish damage dealers in non-garbage time,
Yeah, you probably don't want to run like Tidus and Terra in the same team. Sure.
Yeah. Outside of that specific thing, it's okay, they're both yeah, like you said, just run both. I'm sure the Kain Freya thing is a great example of that. There's certain roles where okay, well, I'm skipping Ignis because I already have Lena as my debuff evasion character. That's why I'm doing. Okay, you only are gonna need one character on the team for debuff evasion, but they still do different things, and they still will support the team in different ways beyond a single mechanic box being checked. Just because Garnet, yeah. As always, all three of us had the objectively right take on the matter. This is where people come for the right answers and the right news and stuff, because we're up on what's happening, right?
Yeah, we are.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, no, like I said, I think this is a very strong character. I personally don't find her that interesting. I pulled because she's a favorite character of mine. I love Crisis Core, and I think Cissnei is one of my favorite parts of that game. So
she definitely made it enjoyable. Yeah.
I never really enjoyed the sort of follow-up characters. I never really used Yang. I never really used Kain. I never had Cloud of Darkness's Burst, but the only character I've enjoyed with follow-ups is Noctis, because Noctis is the most fun character in the entire game.
Did you use Core when he came out?
I used him on like counter teams.
Oh,
Like
okay.
Core Gladio was a pretty fun combo.
Nostalgia too.
There are two other good points in favor of Cissnei if you're going for her. One, kind of mechanically speaking, in the FR era, she apparently, again, this is primarily a GL stream, but she's helpful there because off-turn damage is quite helpful because of the way FRs work. They only take down on player action, and so the more off-turn effects you can get going, the more damage you can get that benefits that FR kind of bonus. And Cissnei, as we just said, does a lot of off-turn damage. Each time that happens, that can take up an FR, that can do the damage on an FR, depending on your setup, your team, and what you're using. I think the more important reason to go for Cissnei, if you want to consider it, is you can finally run an all-Turks team without having to run Rude.
That is true. And Rude has not been good in a very long time. He was very good at one time, but
that time has since passed. His auras, once top of the knot line, have been crept.
Yeah, just a touch. I do want to elaborate on the sort of short burst windows thing as well. Like, yes, she's great with a turn hog. She's also just great with a BT character. Because in your burst phase, that's 7 turns of her doing 3 AoE dumps for free. That is, by my math, a shit ton of damage.
Math checks out. The numbers don't lie.
I mean, when optimized, that's a free 2 mil essentially. So
Per target.
I mean, yeah, per target,
and probably
so,
more with blue
pretty
armors,
good.
ultimate weapons, all that stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, God forbid there's a ROMs in there. Might as well be talking 4 mil.
Yeah, no, she just pumps out damage, and damage is the best mechanic in the game.
You heard it here. Well, most recently, I'm not going to say heard it here first, but damage is the best mechanic in the game. You can quote us on that.
That's something I kind of always like to touch on when evaluating characters. Like, I know that way back in, when we first got Garnet BT plus, we were talking about like, oh, she's got this aura, that aura, these broken auras. But what I said is, I think she's broken because she did a shit ton of damage. And I think that still holds true.
I mean, I've been talking with some friends. It feels like, at least to like me, that we haven't even used Garnet like effectively. Not necessarily effectively, but like we just haven't used her at her like max potential. Like I asked, when has someone seen Garnet's golden buff? and then actually see a fight to the end with that gold buff or even her second BT aura disappearing? And the answer was like never.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, no, that's a character who is tuned for a very, very different. I mean, it was like when Core came out. Future characters like that, they're always tuned for the future, and one way or another, there's going to be some fundamental mechanic to them that is intended for future use and not for present geoplay use. But man, what a goofy character. Case in point, we're still talking about her. We had how many BT pluses since she dropped, and she's still kind of the gold standard?
Best one.
I think we're on 12 right now.
Oh yeah, if you're counting the returning BTs, yeah.
And the only ones that even enter in the conversation are Ramza and Zach, because they do things that she doesn't do. Well, okay, Ramza does stuff she does, but in one very important area he does it better, and Zach does something that she does not do.
Right.
Other than that, like all the other characters, it's like, well, you could run this character, or you could run this pure giant stat stick, but
who also does a shit ton of damage.
Who also does a shit ton of
yeah.
Goodness gracious, that's at the end of the day, like you said. I mean, look at this fight. 40 turns. We are bringing, we're finishing the fight with a BT plus, 2 good supports. North of 30 turns here. That's damage it's an important mechanic to have, guys.
And that's with all those like free Noctis turns.
Yeah, my goodness.
Yeah, no, like this team can make turns. Barely. But yeah, anyways, do you have anything else to add, or are we kind of? wrap it
I
up.
I'd
mean,
say the only thing looking forward, I guess, for next stream would be that global first boss rush that also got announced on stream.
oh yeah, I forgot about that. I thought that we
Yeah.
were done. It's funny that we are talking about Garnet because I think the only time I've ever used her since she dropped was for a one team boss rush clear of that last boss rush, and then I said to myself, okay, no more boss rush. It's done. It's gone. It's in the past. Great. I don't personally like this format because of for some
Because it's been
reason
awful the last couple times we've gotten it.
it sucks, and B at making videos for that fight takes for goddamn ever.
Oh yeah.
For those kind of things. And so as someone who tries to produce content on a regular basis, it was rough. And so I started to really dread Boss Rush, and I was very excited when I heard they were back. So I can only assume this is SQEX's way of keeping me kind of balanced and so I'm not too like over the moon and like riding a gem cap gun high or gem ticket high. This is kind of a way to keep me in check, which I appreciate. It's good to stay balanced and centered and zen and all that jazz. You've seen my videos, you know how it's like.
Yeah.
If you haven't, subscribe to Bl'Art on YouTube. Shameless plug.
But I'll be really interested to see what they try to do to sort of redeem the format, if it were, because the last two boss rushes we've gotten have been some of the least interesting content.
Hilariously easy.
Yeah, who's the featured character for it?
We don't know
we
who
don't
the featured
know,
character is.
but mysteriously, they're the only two banners that have a free pull this month.
Oh, that
So,
is.
so here's the deal. There are several characters whose C90s we don't actually know where they're going to be this month. We don't know who's going to be on that banner. We don't know who's going to be on Vincent's banner. That was Porum and JP, but they did not announce her C90 on their banner. We don't know where Realm is coming. We don't know where Kate Sith's C90 is coming. And we don't know if the Garnet situation is with Garnet, because her C90 was supposed to be on Edge's Intersecting Will. And there's a chance they might move that.
Yeah, it's plausible they'll reprint it because I remember when I came back during the summer. It was during when RNA appeared as a global first, and they reprinted her EX in the summer. So I mean,
Yeah,
we're not
that's
in the
kind of
summer, but we're approaching that time.
My sort of a crackhead conspiracy theory is that the boss rush banner is going to be a Garnet BT rerun.
I mean, I don't think it's unrealistic. Like, it doesn't feel like what's the word that the kids use? It doesn't feel like copium to suggest that. That's what the kids say, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Just there's some stuff up in the air. We don't actually know. I don't think Realm is going to be with Boss Rush, because the format works against her incredibly hard, and that'd be like one of the worst places they could release Realm's LD.
Oh yeah,
It would be funny though.
It would be funny, but
it would be funny. You know,
it'd
that
be like releasing
13
Eldnarch or
turn
something.
limit
Like,
turns into like 15 turn limits or something.
but I actually kind of buy into the theory that Realm's moving to Vincent's banner, because otherwise there's no new LD to pull for us on that, because it was new in JP, but we've already had Vincent.
Yeah, I mean, we do need something to spice it up there, because I forget did they spice up the VV banner when VVLT
They did.
came out?
They moved Afmal onto that banner.
Oh goodness,
Yeah.
that's what they did for that. Yeah,
It was Deuce got axed and replaced with Afmal.
and that's why Zoe quit the game. God.
Yeah,
damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's been I remember now. So yeah, the devs are pretty clever when it comes to like moving stuff around and kind of. I mean, look, they saved Zidane the ignominy of being in a featured character on this fight, so
yeah.
they know what they're doing as far as.
Nishtola's actually not bad here. I did run an all synergy team Nishtola, and having that big burst heal after Sephiroth blows you up feels real good.
Yeah, oh man, it's been a while since I gotta do some solo runs. I love that character, so much fun. Cool. Well, it sounds like I feel like we've about done everything, unless, I mean, if you want to run some co-ops with the people, Simegi, I know that's something
I
we're all
don't. I never want to run co-ops if possible.
Well, Here, you heard it here first. Damage is the most important mechanic, and we do not want to run co-ops if possible.
I mean, does anybody actually like doing co-ops?
Part of why I like Echoes of Mana so much is the co-op in that game is actually pretty fun. But this is not an Echoes of Mana stream, so we can discuss that offline.
I mean, I do like this frog co-op because it ends really fast.
Oh, yeah, no, it's.
Oh
I
yeah,
use
no,
my
this
Snow
co-op
BT
is
finisher,
hard.
then a Cyan call, and they're down to like 15%. It's great.
God bless.
That's my favorite thing about this co-op. I guess there's like some frogs or something, but I don't care.
With weird names.
Oh god, we didn't talk about how they're called Touch Me, did we?
But that's a FF7 reference.
I mean, I'm not saying it's inaccurate. I'm just saying a frog called Touch Me just feels. I mean, I've watched nature documentaries. That's a trap right there. That's bait.
Yeah.
Most people are probably thinking we were going to turn that sexual, but that's not the kind of show this is.
Not at all, no.
Anywho, I think we're about ready to wrap up. Blind Eye, closing thoughts.
Get ready for next week where we're graced with two FF10 characters. Look forward to that, guys.
Some girl, that's pretty good stuff. How about you? Closing thoughts?
I really enjoyed Sephiroth fight. I'm glad I actually got to clear on stream because I was a little worried after that paralysis, but it's all good. But thank God the gem cap specter is no longer looming over us. I think it's going to be a really good thing for the community, especially as content starts picking up again. I feel like a lot of people I've talked to are feeling more excited about the game than they have in a very long time. And that's just good for the game, good for the community, good for us. It's just more fun. So things are looking pretty good, and I'm excited for the future of this game.
Amen and well said.
As am I. Amen, yep.
I don't know if there's much more I can add to that, so I'll just say, everyone send Raw Life your thoughts, prayers, and if you feel like it, you can send him Noni. I don't know how, but you can work that out with him. And
Buy him a beer.
But yeah, buy him a beer. I'm sure he'll love that.
Buy him a beer, yeah. Just pray for him more than anything, though, guys.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for joining us. I hope you all had as good a time as we did. I know it was stream's a little more low key without Raw Life, but we had a great time, and I hope you guys did too. And we'll see you all next week.
Adios.